Hello everybody and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we are going to be varnishing a painting that I just finished, and it is the painting that was on our Patreon, and I am decided to go ahead and varnish it, but I haven't decided if I was going to be using matte or a high gloss varnish. So today we're going to be making up, or basically I'll be making up my mind on which varnish that I'm going to be using, and I'm also going to be doing a test sample, and I'll be going over that and showing that with you guys. So I haven't decided, should it be matte or should it be a high gloss varnish? Not for sure. So in this video, we're going to cover those two varnishes, kind of see how it looks between the matte varnish and the high gloss varnish. So we'll be doing that. Also, I wanted to cover a few things with you guys for any subscribers. Definitely, if you have not subscribed and you're watching this, please subscribe and click the like, ring the little bell for notifications, because I do come out now with some videos just on the whim, and it isn't always on Tuesdays. That used to be, but now we're going to be changing up a little things. I'm trying to add more things for you guys, so that way we got a lot of things coming in. On Patreon, for any of my Patreons, I just want to let you guys know, Patreon next week, we're going to be working with oil pastels. So I was hoping to kind of get an idea of doing like maybe a Valentine's Day, like some hearts, just something Valentine-y related for the oil pastels. Now, what does that mean for any of my subscribers on YouTube that are not one of my Patreons? What that means is that anything with oil pastels, since I'll be working with oil pastels for a video on Patreon for my Patreons, I may do some tips or maybe some little quick videos, so more of a higher speed video of oil pastels. So if there's anything like tips or anything that I could do with oil pastels, maybe to help you with some of your oil pastels, I will be doing that as a smaller video on YouTube. But as far as like a full tutorial on like start to finish of my oil pastel Valentine, that would be on my Patreon. Okay, so if any of you guys want to leave any comments on maybe some sort of medium that you're needing, you would like to see, or maybe you have some questions on stuff, like maybe something's not working out or you're struggling with something, just leave a comment below. Let me know. I read all comments that usually come in, unless it's somehow embedded in somebody else's comment and I don't see it. But usually, I mean, even put at DC Fine Art when you're talking to me and ask me a question. I'll be glad to answer it and try and shoot out a video for you guys too. Tuesdays, I usually always post videos on Tuesdays. So we are coming back with a live stream. So I will be live streaming on Tuesdays again. It'll be a 2-hour, 7 p.m. Central Time will be the timing for that live stream. And what I'm going to be doing a little bit differently is that I have a series of paintings that I've been painting. So I have been doing a lot of the, I always call them my hamster paintings. So I have a color pencil piece that I've done, and it's a hamster's tea party. I have the hamster's trick or treat, along with the hamster's, I think I was the hamster's vacation. Sorry about that. And so with those paintings, I have another one that I have started doing, and I'll just be doing a live stream, and you guys can ask me any art related questions, or you can watch me live stream. And I will be working on one of my hamster series paintings, and that one there is called A Hamster's Christmas, and I definitely need to get him done. So on the next Tuesday's live stream, after I do that, you will just be watching wherever, whatever I get to by that time. If I'm already past a certain point, then I'll just keep continuing on painting, and you guys can ask me any questions, or you can kind of watch how I paint. Then I have another one on my series that I've already got planned out in my head that I have to have. So it will be a really big painting. It will be another acrylic painting, but it's going to be like an 18 by 24. So a really big painting. So that will be on Tuesdays. If you want to come join me for a live stream on Tuesdays, ask any questions. Maybe you're doing some art stuff at home and you just want to paint and watch me and chat along. That would be great to have you guys there. Other than that, I will post videos anyway, like little short tips. I'll try and add in throughout that week. So you're actually going to try, my goal is to get 2 videos out to all my subscribers on YouTube. And then also on Patreon to come out with some more different mediums to add to the categories that I have in my Patreon videos. So yeah, I think I covered it all. Hopefully I didn't fill your guys' ears up too much, because we got to go into this varnishing piece. So remember, click the like, click the subscribe if you haven't already, ring that bell for any notifications. That way, whenever I post my random videos, like I said, I may be posting some oil pastel tips or something in there. That won't be on a Tuesday. It'll just be at random at whatever time I get it done. I will be posting that video out. Other than that, live streams, I will be on Tuesdays again for 2 hours at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here in the US. So let's go ahead and get to our varnishing. So let's go ahead and flip it around. All right, so I'm gonna figure out like what I'm gonna do as far as a varnish, or maybe you guys are going to be varnishing like a picture and you're not for sure on whether or not to go matte and have it basically not shiny, or going with a high gloss varnish. So I have discovered that I'm for sure on what I'm going to do for my painting. So I have an acrylic painting that I just got through, like the one you've seen on Patreon, or that is on my Patreon. But this painting here, I wanted to varnish, and I wasn't for sure if I wanted to go shiny with a high gloss varnish, or if I wanted to stick with maybe a matte varnish. So today, what we're gonna do is kind of go over these varnishes. So I have today with me my Liquitex Professional Matte Varnish right here, and I actually have not used this yet, so it's a brand new bottle. I had to open it. And then I've got my high gloss varnish here, so that way it's super shiny. Now, this little sample sheet was the last video that I did, where we basically was for tips and tricks on how to use, well, it wasn't really tricks, I don't think they're tricks, but they're tips on how to use acrylic paints for beginners. And so I decided, since I was doing like a blue jean type of look on this little patchwork here, that I wanted to go ahead and use my varnish. One is going to be matte on one side, and then I was going to make the other side be the high gloss varnish, and kind of go from there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put, let's see here, let's put the matte here. Yeah, I can't write. This is like a brush. Okay, matte, and then we're just going to put gloss. So we'll just kind of split that down the two like that. And I know my handwriting is horrible. Have to not push down so hard. Oh well. Okay, and then that is glass. That don't look like a G, but it's okay. We're not here for spelling. Bad handwriting day today. So anyways, let's go ahead and start this off. We're gonna go ahead and do the matte varnish. And what I'm gonna do is just barely put some, maybe on this side, just a few little drops is all I need for now. And I'm just using a sponge brush here. I think it's like a 2 or 3 inch. It's a 2-inch sponge brush. I got this from Blick. And this is going to be our matte. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. I'm actually going to wash that off with water, because I definitely want to save it, because we're going to have to do another coat. So now here's our high gloss varnish. And I'm just going to do a couple little drops there. A few little drops. And then I'm going to take a different sponge, so that way I'm not mixing the two. I'm going to kind of leave the center too. We're not going to do the center. So in between the matte and the high gloss varnish, we're just going to leave it. So there we go. So now that that has been done, I'm going to wait for it to dry, and then we're going to end up, got a lot of blue coming off there, which is really kind of weird. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's from my blender brush. Yeah, it's probably from my blender brush. I was like, it should be dry. That's been dry for a few days. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and let this dry. So I'll be back in just a second. I'll wash these brushes. It may be a few minutes for me. It'll only be a second for you guys. So let's come back to this whenever it's dry to add another coat. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and we are going to do another coat of the matte. So we're going to do just a few little drops. We're going to take our little sponge brush here and just kind of put that in. Okay, so there is 2 coats. And now we're going to take 2 coats, and this will be 2 coats of the high gloss. Usually I like to do about 3 coats of the high gloss whenever I'm doing my paintings. Oops, I don't know how that's going to affect it, but I just accidentally put some high gloss in there. Oops. Hopefully it doesn't affect everything. It's probably on my finger by now, but I'm going to have to be very careful. I probably put a little bit too much of the high gloss varnish because a little bit goes a long way, and this is definitely going way too much. But nonetheless, I still have the high gloss on this side and I still have the matte on this side. Not quite for sure what this one is. We're just gonna rub that out of the way. We'll just see. I made a mess. But anyways, let's go ahead and let this second coat dry and then see where we're at as far as the high gloss and the matte and just the differences, because this has not been varnished right in these little areas. It kind of got kind of close there. So we'll just see what it looks like once it's done drying with 2 coats. All right, so this is now dry, and even if it's dry, you can tell that the matte finish on this, or the matte varnish, still has a shine to it. So it's not like completely matte. It actually has a very light like glossy tone to it, while the other one looks really shiny. It's actually, the high gloss is almost like if you have a layer of glass over. I mean, it's like shiny. So it's super nice. But yet, if you're thinking matte, because I was thinking too, it's like whenever you put matte on it, it should be matte. But it actually is more, it still has more of a shiny surface to it. So it's still kind of shiny. So it's not too bad. Out of both of these, so for what I'm choosing for my painting, I think I'm going to go with the matte on it because it still has, oops, and I got this plastic down too to protect my board underneath, but it still has a nice little shine to it. It's just not matte, like coming out looking like no shine whatsoever. So I think I'm going to go with the matte varnish on my painting. So we made that up. Also, I wanted to kind of go over with you guys that this stuff here doesn't have a smell to it. So if any of you are kind of finicky, you know, on smells and maybe can't handle that because of the strong odor that some of these things have, because I know for sure some of them are not like on the acrylic, but I know on the oil side, I had some that smelled like gasoline, and it was like super strong. I thought anything would just light it on fire. That's how bad it was. But this here has absolutely, I ain't smelling anything from this. So I don't know, I can pick it up and, nah, it just smells like plastic. So to be honest with you, it doesn't really have a smell. And then on the back of this, of course, it is, both of these are non-removable. So the Liquitex high gloss varnish and the matte from Liquitex are both non-removable. They are permanent, and shows on the matte scale to gloss. It shows it all the way down here at matte, but it looks like it doesn't go all the way to being completely not shiny. So I mean, it is kind of shiny. So other than that, It is basically the finish part. So once you put this on, that means your painting is done. It's finished. You cannot go back and retouch over your painting. It wouldn't be archival anymore. You could end up having your paint start to peel off of it. So once you varnish it, you are done. That painting is sealed and done. So what we're going to do is go ahead and we are going to switch this out, and we're going to put the painting down, and then we are going to start to varnish this using the matte varnish. So let me go ahead and get my brushes out. They should be done drying, and we'll go ahead and start the varnish process for this painting. All right, so here I am with the matte varnish, and this is what I do to varnish my paintings, whether or not it is the high gloss or this one. I put down some drops of the painting or the varnish down, and make sure that your painting has been fully dried. I have waited to do this probably maybe 2-3 days, probably at least 3 days, 2 or 3. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of go across very lightly. I'm not pushing down hard, but I'm going at the same direction. You know, I'm going to come up just a little bit on this. And I'm making sure to kind of go off of the board just a little bit. All right. So now that I've done my first coat, there we go. So that should be evenly distributed across. So now I'm going to let this dry, and I'm probably going to let it dry for at least 30 minutes, and then I'll come back and then I'll end up adding another coat. So this is only going to take 30 minutes for me. It may only take a second for you guys. So let's go ahead and switch it on over so that way you can see me do the second coat, and then I'll end up coming back, and after the second coat I'll do another coat, and then we'll go ahead and see what it looks like whenever it's completely done. So this will only be a second for you guys. All right, so now that this has dried, I can go ahead and put my second coat down. So I'm going to do the same amount that I did before. Just putting, I may be putting just a little bit more on. That way I make sure that I cover all areas of my painting. And because the little sponge may end up soaking up some of the varnish, so here I am just going back and forth, making sure every bit of this is completely covered. If there's any areas that maybe you have missed or it didn't look like it was really that saturated, doing it a second time around will definitely cover that areas, or any areas that maybe you missed or maybe didn't get as much of the varnish on it. And I'm making sure to kind of go in the same like direction. I did go across like here. If I had any extra that I needed to pull down into these other areas, then I would go ahead and do it like this. Just making sure I pull down any of the extra that's on there, or any that's got a little more than the other. And then I will end up just going across longwise. Going across very lightly, not pushing down very hard at all, just very lightly. All right, so that pretty much is all I'm doing. Looks like I got a nice base or nice coat there for the second layer. Looks like this little corner might need a little bit more there. There we go. Make sure that's covered. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to look at this second coat. Now it does look really shiny. Of course it is wet, but just to make sure, because I know that even though it says it's matte, it just doesn't look matte. It looks really shiny to me still. So we're just going to do, once it's dry, we're going to pick it up and we're going to kind of look at it and get a good eyeball on how this matte varnish really looks with even a second coat of varnish on it. So I'll just be back in 1 second once this dries. All right, so now that this is finished drying, you can kind of see here, it's still got a nice, still kind of glossy, so it still has a nice little shine to it. It isn't as shiny as the high gloss, but it is still got a shine to it. So it's almost like it's not completely matte, but it almost makes me think that it's almost like a semi-gloss is what it looks like to me. But let's go ahead. I'm going to do my last coat because I usually do 3 coats. So I am still sticking to that habit of doing 3 coats, making sure I got plenty of it on there. And then I'm going to take my little sponge brush and we're going to finish off doing this 3rd coat, just to make sure everything is completely covered. I always like to do that. It adds a really nice even layer when I do 3 coats. That way, the first one, like the first coat, if I end up kind of missing a spot, then usually when I go over it with the second coat, I'll usually get that spot. A 3rd coat basically seals it all, like making sure that it's both, no, I mean, no matter what, if I missed a spot, I'm going to hit it up basically 2 times. And if I didn't miss a spot on this other, then it's going to get basically like 3 coats. But nonetheless, it's still going to be completely covered and everything. Everything gotten, nothing missed. All right, so this looks nice and even. Everything looks good. So now I'm just going to go ahead and run this through one more time here. And there we have it. So I'm just going to go ahead and end that. And so once this dries, we'll show you, I'll come back and show you the finished look to it. Usually the 3rd coat is always the best coat. So let's go ahead and let this dry and we will come back and see it completely dried and finished. All right, so here is the final 3rd coat that's been done. It is fully dried. And as you can tell, it's still got a nice little varnish, like a shine to it. It's not completely matte, but yet it ain't like super like glass. I mean, it's still kind of very, very, I don't know, just looks still shiny. But I do know that it's not as shiny as some of the high glosses. But if you're thinking whenever you see matte that it's going to be completely matte, there is going to be a shine to it. So it's not going to be like matte. So, and here is my final piece. So I am super excited about this. I can't wait. I won't be hanging it up even after it's dried to the touch where I can touch it. I'm still not going to hang it up in a frame or anything like that or put it in a frame until probably I'll let like 24 hours, maybe a whole day for this to dry. And then probably tomorrow I'll be hanging this up and putting it in a frame. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to have this as part of my little, several of my pieces. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to varnish, or at least how I varnish. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave that down below. And also, if you could hit the like and subscribe, that would definitely help out the channel. And ring that bell for notifications, because I will be coming out with more videos and they will be kind of here or there. So anyways, I'll see you all next time. Bye, you guys.